Hey everybody, welcome back to Diesel Creek. My name's Matt. We're planning a cow pasture today to rescue another D8 Caterpillar. These guys are all looking at me. Something's new, something's going on. I've come to collect their scratching post. So somebody sent me an email a while back about this thing. And yeah, they just sent me a couple pictures of it, and I don't know a whole lot about it. It's pretty early. This is what I believe is a 1HD8, but I have yet to find the serial number and confirm that. This is me and you looking at it for the first time in person together here. Like I said, all I saw was a couple pictures and an email. All in all, not a bad looking tractor. Undercarriage looks pretty decent on it. Not great, but not bad. Runnable. It's not like I'm planning on taking this thing out on a big job and using it, stripping coal or something. I think this thing is going to make a great fit for up at the National Pike Steam Show. You guys know I've already got a couple tractors up there, but, well, we deleted one. I sold the D9. It was just too good to have sitting around at an antique show when it has working air conditioning and a 90% undercarriage. Somebody could still use that machine, so I found somebody that could still use that machine, and we made a deal on her. I made a couple bucks, and now I need a replacement. So like I said, we're all seeing this thing together for the first time here. I'm trying to find the serial tag. Ah, there it is. The serial number should tell us what series of D8 this is. Like I said, I think it's a 1H. I'm gonna have to get some Scotch-Brite or something to clean this up because I can't make it out. Anyways, of course, the goal is today that we're going to be able to hopefully jump on this thing, get it fired up, and walk it on out of here. It's been sitting for what I'm told is about 10 years, but I just talked to the neighbor lady who said that she's lived here for 31 years and doesn't recall it ever moving. It is sitting up on some blocks of wood, though, so I kind of find it hard to believe that those have been there for 31 years. Being in a cow pasture, it does make sense that it's, you know, kind of cleaned up around it. The cows will keep this stuff ate down pretty good. Definitely been a few years, though, since it's moved with all the moss and lichen growing on it. Let's climb up here and see what we can see. You can see the remnants of a tarp on here, so they did have it tarped at one time. These old machines had wooden roofs on them. This one is pretty well gone, unfortunately. I like the stainless corner pieces that they made up. That's neat. I've never seen one like that. Wouldn't be too bad to rebuild one of these, I guess. They do have the exhausts covered up nicely with a tin can and a rock. So that's good. Hopefully the cans aren't rotted through. I've seen that a few times. People have the best of intentions. They put an old soup can on top of an exhaust, and after 5, 6, 10 years, the soup can rusts through. If you're going to cover up an exhaust with a can, use stainless or aluminum. Looks like that's what this is, actually. An old aluminum frying pan. Maybe that was covering up the antifreeze at first. I don't know. Speaking of that, let's have a peek in there and see if we can see any antifreeze in the radiator. Check out the old Caterpillar logo. That's sweet, huh? Well, I can't see anything, but it's clean in there, actually. That's a good sign. That's cleaner than some of my newer tractors. Oh, that's neat. I never realized that about these tractors either. The hood actually hinges up. There's a hinge that runs down the whole length of the hood here. That's pretty cool. If you haven't already noticed as well, these early tractors, the cable that lifts and lowers the blade actually runs up and overhead through this piece of channel here, down to the cable control in the back. This cable's in pretty poor shape, but hopefully it holds together long enough to get this thing out of here. This is actually your blade lift and lower lever. Kind of stiff. Operator's area, pretty much filled with what used to be the roof. Looks like somebody made off with a seat, probably put it inside to try to keep it from deteriorating, but that means I don't have it. I think I have one of these seats sitting at home, luckily. Big toolbox on the side here. What do we got in here? Ooh, got some goodies. What is this? Oh, we got old bars leak. Has a barcode on it. Can't be too old. 30 weight oil, more bars leak. 3 things of this bars leak in here. I don't know if that's a bad sign or not. Maybe it has a head gasket issue or a liner issue or a radiator issue. Don't know. Let's find the dipstick. There it is. Pull the dipstick here and have a look at the oil in the main engine. Oh, maybe. Oh, that thing is in there. There we go. Well, the oil looks pretty good still. It's not even super black. I can still see through it. Doesn't look like it's got any water in it. That's the big thing. I don't call that a good sign. Got to give some credit to whoever parked this thing here years ago. They did a good job putting it up on blocks, and they got the blade up off the ground. That really does a lot to help preserve things if you know you're not going to get back to it for a while. Here's our gear shift mechanism. I believe this is what people call a slide bar D8. Yeah, because this whole horseshoe, wishbone shaped, whatever you want to call it, it should slide back and forth to get into these different notches for the different gears. Pretty cool. It's kind of like the shifter forks being external almost. Let's see what our clutches feel like here. Oh, that doesn't feel very good. I'm not real excited about the way those feel. Uh-oh. I don't know, the master clutch feels pretty stuck too. If those are all stuck, this might be one heck of a project. I don't know how this is going to go. Let's focus on this engine first. Alright, so we need to start with our pony engine here. Now, I've made a lot of videos about pony engines, but if you're new to the channel and unfamiliar, a pony is just a gas engine that is used to spin over and start a large diesel engine. To my knowledge, pretty much only Caterpillar did that. I think there's some Russian tractors that also did that way back in the day, but pony engines are almost exclusively a Caterpillar thing, I believe. I could be wrong on that. They're the only ones I mess with. How about that? So the pony cranks the diesel, and not only does it crank it, it also shares the same coolant, so it warms the coolant as it runs. It really just makes starting a big diesel in cold weather a lot more doable. Check this oil in the pony. Oh, it looks good too. It's almost right up to the full mark. No water in it either. I'm hoping in a perfect world here, all we're going to have to do today is put gas in this pony motor, clean the points on it, and hope it fires up. Hopefully we don't have to get into this carburetor. These bigger carburetors on these older pony motors, these are different from the ones on like my 46A D8s. These carburetors seem to be more resilient and less prone to gumming up. Been a while since I played with one of these things. I'm trying to refresh my memory here. To get the starter to engage, you push this lever over, which shoves on that guy, which starts the starter. But this is also like your manual Bendix, I think, if I remember right. So let's get our jump pack hooked up the starter there and see if this engine is even free, or if the starter works. Alright, I think we got some connection there. I'm gonna bump the starter and see what happens. Nothing. Well, you couldn't. You didn't think it was gonna be easy, did you? Bummer. Oh, there we go. Hey, the starter spins. Oh yeah, buddy. The pony cranks over. Sounds like it's got even compression. Oh man. Don't give me any false hope here. I guess it's time we can uncover these exhausts. Well, good news, our cans don't appear to be rotted through. Oh, we still got a flapper under there too. Double good. This should be our pony exhaust. Oh, double canned? Yeah, someone loved this thing. Wowzers. 90s Crisco can. And the mud dauber nest. That's a must dauber dominium. Alright. I guess we need to check the pony for spark now. So we need to check for spark, and the easiest way to do that, we'll just give her a little whiff of ether down there and see if she pops off. Well, I'm going to say there's no spark. I'm not surprised. I mean, that's pretty much the standard. But every once in a while you get lucky. I've gotten lucky a couple times. So we move on down here to the... Oh, you know what? Usually these are always disconnected. This is the ground. This is what kills the magneto and keeps it from having spark. Somebody had it in the off position. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that wire because there's never a time you should ever use this. You should always run your pony motor out of fuel. That way the carburetor doesn't get kind of fouled up with fuel bouncing around in there. Can kind of mess up the float, I was told. So good rule of thumb, always run your pony out of fuel. So we're going to cut that ground off there to make sure it doesn't have ground. And then we're going to give that another shot, actually. I don't know why. I'm feeling confident about this thing, even though I can clearly tell it hasn't run in a long time. You don't get a kill switch. I should have known. Wishful thinking, but oh well. Let me pop this magneto cover off. So we got to pop this magneto cover off of here and clean up our points. Hopefully that's all it takes to get spark back. Our plug wires don't look terrible, so I'm hopeful for them. Boy, we finally just hit that point in fall where the cold and damp is here to stay, I think. And I am not acclimated to it yet. It rained most of the evening yesterday into last night. There is some moisture in the air this morning. That's not good. The contact over here for this one plug wire is either missing? I can't tell. Yeah, I think it just pushed out. It might be on the ground here. I might have not noticed. It might have fallen. I have proved in videos past that you can make one of those contacts out of a piece of pencil lead, though. Our contactor wheel looks okay-ish. Right here is what we're in here for, though. These are our breaker points. So there's just two contacts there, and they get fouled up from sitting. Ah, yep. There's our piece of contact there that we're missing. It's not gone. I meant to bring a spare magneto with me, and of course I forgot. And we're over an hour from home, so it's not a quick, easy ride to go back. Yeah, that's going to be tricky to get in there. It's not wanting to stay. Might put a dab of grease on the end of it or something. Anyways, I'm going to go grab a point file, and we'll clean these points up. Got nervous there. I searched and searched through my toolbox and took forever, but I finally found my points file. Yeah, a little gunky, not terrible though. Alright, you guys keep watching. I'm going to hit the starter. Hopefully you guys see a little spark there between those two contacts. Contact! Can you guys see anything? Oh yeah, I'm seeing a little spark. Get our cover put back on, and hopefully we can get this thing fired up. Trying to get this cover back on here, but keep this contact in place. It keeps wanting to come off. I think originally they were kind of like glued in there to the spring. It is proving to be difficult. Might have got it. Can't tell. Well, I think it's in there. We're going to find out. Okay, let's see if she's going to pop now. I don't know. I'm going to take this air cleaner off. We might not actually be getting any ether down in there. Oh, no, it doesn't draw air from the bottom at all. That'd be why. Oh, yeah. She's got the sparkage. And I know that our contactor stayed in there because I heard it hit on both cylinders, not just one. So, very exciting. Now we just need to get fuel to this thing. I'm going to pull this drain off the carburetor here, and then I'll put new fuel in the tank and hopefully flush out any old fuel through the lines, through the tank, all the way out through the carburetor here. At least that's my plan. I highly doubt there's any fuel in the carburetor. Hopefully it's not super gummed up. Ugh, there's some dirt that came out with that. Not impressed, but like I said, hopefully that new gas coming through there flushes out any dirt. Well, I'm telling you guys, someone loved this machine. It is full all the way to the top of this pony fuel tank with what smells like gas, not water. I've seen sometimes these caps for the pony tanks, the vent comes uncovered. There's like a brass plug in it or something. I don't know exactly how the vent works on these, but sometimes water gets in through the lid and fills the tank up like that. And then of course the tank is junk if it's sat for very long like that. This one, no. Seems to be full of fuel. So I'm going to turn on the petcock down here, and we should start pushing fuel through. Oh yeah. Look at that. What if it runs on this old fuel? That's flowing there. Is it coming out our carburetor? Yeah, it's starting to flow out of there now. Starting to think our fuel line might be clogged here because it's coming out just pretty slowly. I'm going to take the line off at the carburetor and see if that makes a difference. Well, unfortunately, the line's not clogged. It must be in the carburetor. It's flying out of this line as soon as I cracked her loose. Definitely varnished up though. I don't know. I still haven't put any fresh gas in this thing. It smells very varnished, but for some reason, I'm compelled to try to start it on this old gas. Now, if this thing would, by some miracle, fire up on this old sludge, things can move kind of quick, so I got to explain to you guys what I'm doing here before all the racket ensues. So you have a gearbox after your pony. This is what drives the diesel. So you have a high and low, it's labeled here. We're going to put her in low range. That gives you more torque for spinning over the diesel. We have no idea if this engine's stuck. I hope it's not. I suspect that it's not, but I don't know. So we'll put that in low. These two levers here, honestly, I kind of forget what they do. This is the pinion brake, I think. And then this guy is what actually, engages the pony. That's the guy that actually engages the pony to the diesel. So there's a bunch of levers going on there all at once. Not to mention over here on the diesel, you got your compression release. You got run, half compression, and then start, which is where we want to obviously start. That releases all the compression from the diesel. So let's see what happens here. I shut the camera off as I just fell off the track. I stepped right in that groundhog hole and about broke my ankle. Whoops! Well, here goes nothing. Unbelievable! I can't believe it. It's running off of gasoline that was already in that pony tank. No way. That is truly unbelievable. I swear, hand on the Bible, not making this up. I didn't put that gas in there. Clearly been there a minute. Burn away. All right, I just want to try and see if the engine is going to spin now. You guys got to keep an eye on the fan up there, and I got to use both hands, so yeah. Oh yeah! She's turning. Turning over, awesome. We got to get some more rip'ems out of it. It'll never start like this. How do you go faster? That's awesome. Let's check and see if we got any oil pressure. Not showing any yet. It can take a minute though. All right, let's try kicking it into high range, see if that makes a difference. She is turning awful slow. I got her dialed in now. Oh yeah, she's really singing her song. Oh yeah! Like that compression. Bummer. It's not liking it when I put the compression in. So the way you're supposed to do this is you're supposed to put the compression in, let it crank over with the compression for a second, and then when you're ready, add the fuel, and it's supposed to light off like that. Sometimes when these ponies aren't running right, like we're doing right now, I don't feel like tearing that whole carb apart here in the field and potentially ruining gaskets and not being able to put it back together anyhow. So what I will do, because we're in a pinch here, is I will give it all the fuel that it wants, and then I'll just slam the compression while it's cranking over nice and fast, and usually that'll make it jump off. So let's try that. Hopefully this thing restarts hot.
like a kid.
Sounds good. Sounds real good. Nothing to complain about there. That's awesome. I love old cats.
All right, well, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Yeah, it's running. We still have to worry about our steer clutches and our master clutch and the cable control. But over here on the status of the engine health, well, we got some blow-by going on. I mean, it's not egregious. I'm not afraid of that. That doesn't worry me. But I took a peek in the radiator now. You guys see all those bubbles coming up in there? That's compression getting into our cooling system. So she's hurt, but obviously not so bad that it's putting oil into the antifreeze. That's good. Or vice versa, antifreeze in our oil. So I guess she needs a head gasket. We're obviously not going to worry about that right here, right now. Let's go ahead and see if the blade's going to pick up. And we'll see if we can't get this thing to drive at all or steer at all. That's going to be the big thing, because getting it out of here, it pretty much has to walk out of here. There's no getting a trailer to the machine where it sits. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows here. I don't know if you guys could tell what was going on there. I tried to record this the best I can, but really it'd be good to have a camera guy in this kind of situation. The way these cable control units that lift the blade work is there's a clutch pack in there, very similar to your steering clutches or your master clutch. And what happens when they sit sometimes is that they stick, and this one is stuck. So as you guys could see, blade lifted up pretty easy. That looked good. The problem was I wasn't lifting it with the cable control. What I was doing was engaging the master clutch, and that is what was lifting the blade because the clutch is stuck in the cable control. Sometimes you get lucky and you can just sit there and bump the clutch a few times, and that'll do enough jarring and shaking to break that clutch loose in the cable control, but no such luck today. So I picked it all the way up there to the point of the 2-block situation. If you don't know what a 2-block situation is, it's when that block contacts that shift block. So there's 2 blocks clicked together. It's basically like deadhead in a hydraulic cylinder, but cables and shivs. So you can very easily break a cable like that, and I tried to, as delicately as possible, bump the blocks together, thinking that would be the jar I needed to get the clutch broke free, and all I broke was the cable. So blade came crashing down, big surprise. Unfortunate, the cable was junk anyway. It's not really any loss, it just makes it harder for us to try to get the dozer out of here now. Luckily I got friends in the right places. My buddy Gino, his shop's not too far from here. He's actually sending one of his guys right now with a skid steer, and we're going to pop the blade off and load it out on the skid steer trailer,
While the skid steer's here, we're going to attempt to see if it'll help steer this dozer around, because the other big issue I'm up against is our steering clutches. You know, the two levers in there that stop the tracks and let it turn. They're both stuck. Not the levers themselves, but the clutch packs inside the transmission. So that's more of a job. Definitely not something I really want to work on here. So the machine will drive forward and backwards when you engage the master clutch, but the cable control continues to spin. It's just sucking more of the cable in. It's going to end up bird's nesting it on the drum. And we can only go in forward or reverse. I can't turn at all because, well, those steering clutches. It will go, as you can see, I backed up a couple feet there just to prove the concept. So what I'll end up doing is cutting that cable off the control unit as much as I can so it doesn't just sit there and bird's nest. And then I'll be able to drive forward or backwards, and we're hoping the skid steer will be able to push the machine around enough to get it loaded on a trailer. I kind of think that that's wishful thinking. I don't really think that it's going to have enough oomph to do that, but we can try. If that doesn't work, and I suspect it won't, Gino has generously offered up his 312 excavator that's just sitting in his shop not doing anything. Said we can use it to throw this machine on the trailer, and then he'll come back for the excavator. Hey, Red. How's it going, Red? Red's not impressed with my antics. I was about to start pulling the pins on the blade here, getting it ready for Gino's guys to show up and load it out. I then made a very disappointing discovery. The main pivot pin down there is welded in place. Like a lot. No angle grinder is going to get that out of there. So, the blade's pretty much stuck on here because even if you were to pull the whole C-frame off, this whole U-shaped piece that the blade is hooked to, the only way to haul it would be standing on its face because it's way too wide to lay on a trailer, which also means it's too tall to haul on a trailer. It's like 13.6 from the back of the trunnion cap to the edge of the blade there. So we would be plenty over height, especially we're in rural Pennsylvania. There's low lines everywhere, bridges, all kind of stuff like that. There's no way we'd be able to travel with that blade like that. I'm hoping we can angle the blade. So that's one nice thing is you just pull that pin there and the same thing on the other side, and this blade will turn, not quite to a 45-degree angle, but maybe for our purposes here, trying to reduce the width, we can extreme angle it kinda, and that'll get us down to a permittable width, because over 12.6, I think it's 12.6, over a certain width at least in Pennsylvania, you need pilot cars, and that makes moving this thing exponentially more expensive. Yeah, I got some fresh dirt for you there. I know you guys like some nice dry topsoil. Got some minerals. I love cows. Cows and cats. How's it going, Red? What do you think? You're just a young buck, huh? That'll be alright. I know, you probably smell some diesel or some penetrating oil or something. You want to scratch? Yeah, good head scratchings. Yeah. Okay. Alright, I'll leave you alone. I can't tell if you love me or hate me. Well, here we are, back again the next day with a new cat to save an old cat and a crazy cat behind the wheel. Maybe I'm gonna buy Gino a new windshield for Christmas. But anyway, we're in his Scoopula Digla
Heading up here to the old 1H, getting this thing out of here today. I'm glad it's all downhill.
Boy. That was not a good place to bring a 28 in the well 7-axle drop side.
All right, so the first thing I want to do here, we got to pick the blade up, get it chained up in the air, and then start getting it pointed downhill, because we're going to take it out through that gate down there. Come on.
Spielberg, you just keep holding the camera and I'll keep working. Like a single mom out here. I gotta wash and dry the dishes.
All right, so the plan is Gina's gonna hop back in that thing, and we're gonna try to guide it out here around the cattle corral, or the hay bale feeder, and try to gently guide it down over the hill without running into any trees or fences. What do you think?
You want to start it?
Probably just bump start it. Gina's trying to yank on me with the excavator here. Unfortunately, their little feeding area here is gonna get a little tore up, but kind of wet today, unfortunately. We're coming into that time of year where it's just not drying out. But if we can get me pointed back downhill towards the trailer there, we can probably bump start it. And that'll help our cause a little bit, I think. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The problem is my brakes are pretty well seized up here, and I'll jam them for all I'm worth if we need to, but I'm afraid they're gonna stick. Well, I'm also afraid that they're not gonna do anything if we start to get in a runaway situation here. Yeah, that brake did a little bit. She's in gear now. So we can also kind of use the engine as a brake as well, since I have it in gear now. If I start to take off, I'm gonna pull the clutch, and that should slow our roll. And then I can keep it from starting by holding the throttle down here. He's gonna do the smart thing, it looks like, and get behind me now so that I don't run into him. You gotta put a lot of trust in your buddy in a situation like this. I don't know that I'm making good life choices right now. don't tickle. It's kind of cold today. All right, we unpinned the blade and we're going to try to angle it now to keep our width down for hauling. All right. Honestly going better than I thought. That ain't bad. So I just had a good word with the neighbors there. They came down to see what all the ruckus was about today. And they told me that the last time this tractor was started was 2012. The guy used to come out and start it up once in a while and move it around just to keep it from seizing up, which unfortunately it is seized up, the clutches anyway. But I still can't believe that that gas in the pony tank fired up from 2012. That's wild. I gotta help Gino here before he fires me.
Don't ask me, ask China.
Well, here we are on the trailer, chained down, ready for the road. I'm impressed. That went very well. Remarkably, we didn't even tear up the road. I mean, it's got some white lines on it and a little bit of dirt, but it's gonna rain tomorrow anyway. You won't even be able to tell we were here. I think we're gonna ditch it at Gino's shop and try to get it working. That's like halfway to the steam show anyway. And then we'll just take it up to the steam show. It can live out the rest of its days up there amongst its old buddies. Hey, cows. You guys up here checking out the new spot, the dry dirt where the machine was sitting, huh? That machine's been sitting there longer than you've been alive, I bet. Huh. Yeah, the previous owners, they took good care of her. They had her sitting up on blocks. That helps them. If they're gonna be parked for any amount of time, that definitely helps the tracks. Keeps them out of the mud. Huh. What do you think, girl? Have fun, Cal. See you at Texas Roadhouse. Another successful mission. Another one saved. On the trailer and ready to head out of here. That thing sounds ignorant. I can't remember how many horsepowers he claims the old kitty pillars turn in there, but it's somewhere in the 700s, I think, 750. Redonkulous.
back with the old D8 here the next day, and there was no point in hauling it back to my shop since it's already most of the way to the steam show. So we just kicked her off here at Gino's shop, and I'm going to fool around with it today and see if I can't get these steering clutches freed up. If I can't get them freed up and it looks like it's going to become more of a job, then I guess I'll have to take it back to the shop, because we're pretty much at the beginning of winter here. It's mid-November now, so trying to work on this thing outside is going to be, yeah, not the most fun in the world. I have a heated shop for a reason. Anyways, there's a whole bunch of debris and garbage on top of this thing that I want to get cleared off first so we can actually get to everything. And then there's some transmission covers on top there. I should be able to get in to see the clutch packs and all the linkages and everything that's moving, because I'm not so sure that the clutch itself is actually what's stuck. When you pull the steering clutch, it kind of feels like it doesn't do anything, like it's not even trying. So we're gonna have to get the covers off and see what's really going on in there. Alright, I just took the bolts out of this first transmission cover. Let's see what's behind door number 1 here. Ooh, rust. I see lots of rust. Well, that cover did not cover what I thought it did. I can see some stuff in here though. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see. Oh, I'm actually using you guys to see down where I can't see. Transmission is very milky. Clutch pack, definitely in a lot of milk. That's not great. Alright, let's pull off this center cover. I think I'll be able to see some more detail in there. Ew. That is a shame. Got a lot of rust going on in here. So that should be engaged. And see, this thing isn't spring-a-thinging back, which means the clutch isn't push-a-thinging out on the linkage down there. Everything is just good and stuck. Well, I pulled the inspection cover off the back of the transmission here, in the bevel gear case. You can see exactly how nasty it is in there. We're gonna go ahead and drain it out and fill that cavity back full of diesel fuel, and hopefully that breaks our clutches loose, soaking in the diesel. Huh. I would have thought that would have come flying out of there. Apparently she needs a poke. There we go. Yeah, that's all water. That's supposed to be a dry gear case. There's not even supposed to be oil in it. Any oil that gets in there is from leaking through past the seals. You can see we're just now getting to a little tinge of oil, but not much. Well, that's all the oil that really came out of it, those white droplets you see there on top, and that's only maybe a couple tablespoons of oil in that whole cavity. It's still really lingering in here. It's all stuck to that clutch pack and everything though, and then, I don't know how well you guys can see, basically the bottom of this cavity here is just full of mouse house, I think, and that has become saturated with water and everything else, so it's not draining very well. This side over here does not look nearly as bad as far as oil contamination, so that's good for our seals' sake, but it is still full of water, which is no bueno. So I'm going to go ahead and drain this side. We're just going to drain it on the ground because there's no oil in it, and I'm going to let it sit and drip for a while, and then we're going to fill them up with diesel fuel. Well, I just pulled the plug, and just like the other side, it doesn't even want to drain. There we go. Now she's flowing. Ugh.
Alrighty. Plugs are back in. Let's fill her up. All right, I'm gonna throw the covers back on those just so the fuel doesn't come sloshing out on us. Then we're gonna try to fire this thing back up. Okay, so I'm actually going to run this thing kind of hard. I've got it in low right now. I'm just walking nice and easy here to get her legs stretching first, but I've got both of the steering clutches pulled back. They're over center right now, so normally they'd be up there. But I have them both pulled back, which should mean the clutches should be disengaged, but they're not because they're stuck. So basically keeping these held back, and I'm just going to go back and forth with that diesel sloshing around in there, getting all over the clutches. And the shock load of going back and forth and them actually having to pull the tractor, and then hopefully that breaks the clutches loose. If not, we will find another big piece of equipment to push against. I mean, there's a 992 there behind me. We can get up against something like that. Hopefully that would jar the tracks loose. But I'm going to just start driving her back and forth and seeing what happens. I can also occasionally stab the brakes, which will both put a load on the clutches as well. The brakes are really rusty right now, so it's going to take a while for them to clean up. Well, good news, bad news. Good news is we got the right clutch to free up just a little bit. I don't know if you guys could tell in the time lapse there, but I can turn a little bit with it. The brakes not really doing so much. The bands are still really greasy and nasty probably. The diesel fuel being in there does not help our cause either. Left clutch still pretty stuck, so I'm gonna let this thing sit here and marinate with that diesel in the clutch cases there for probably at least a week, and then I'll come back and try it, and then maybe we'll have some better luck. In other good news, this engine had a little bit of blow-by going on before we tried working it here, and it appears that some of the blow-by has cleared up. Now it still does have some, but I think it probably just has a couple stuck rings, and the harder we work this thing, hopefully the better it gets and the less blow-by we got. I mean, it runs really well, so I hope it's not, you know, just wore out, but that remains to be seen. Either way, I think it's gonna be just fine for all the work it's gonna be seeing in its future here. Well guys, that's another one saved. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up here because, well, it's just a good place to jump off. It's on safe territory. We're not in danger of seeing this thing cut up for scrap and turned into razor blades. So now that it's here at Gino's, I can play around with it and try to love on it a little bit. It definitely needs some TLC, but all in all, I think it's a pretty solid tractor for taking up at the steam show and having some fun with. If we can get the steering clutches freed up and working right, this is going to be a fun machine, and I'm pretty sure it's the only Laterno style cable over the top of the cab machine that is going to be up there. Definitely nice to have an example of a little bit of everything up there. If you guys still haven't made it out to the National Pike Steam Show, you're really missing out. Anyways, that's it for me in this D8 right now. If you guys like the video, do me a big favor. Hit that thumbs up button down below the video. It really helps out the channel. Doesn't cost you guys a dime. If you would like to help support the channel in a little more direct fashion, you can head on over to dieselcreek.com, pick yourself up some sweet swag over there. Don't forget, the holiday season is upon us now, so if you're thinking about ordering something for the holidays, be sure you get that order in as soon as possible, because we're not Amazon. You know, our fulfillment team does the best they can to keep up with orders, but the holiday rush is always hard to keep up with, so the sooner you get your order in, the better. Anyways, that's all I got for now, so as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Later.